I know that a few of you have got like a hard stop at 3:30, so I'm going to keep my questions limited and allow for more time from the audience to kind of shoot out some interesting questions. Let me start up with you, Jose. There is this, like say if you look at just look at the NASSCOM estimates. We are talking about having or requiring close to about say 200,000 to 250,000 analytics professionals over the next few years, right? And even if you look at say analytics, a good amount of the work, of course there are say different streams within the analytics space, be it on the data science or the technology angle or any of those things. But a good amount of them falls under the business analysis. What's your take in terms of where do you see like a convergence between the two?
Sure, that's a great question. So to me, it's a combined team. So I do head the data sciences for EMC, as was mentioned, but I do also have a big business analyst team. And to me, it's a part of the same coin, it's like the other sides of the coins. And I'll explain why. Actually, I'll probably give an example of one of the work that we have done most recently, because I think it's nothing like a real example to drive home the point. So one of the things that we have done in recent times for our company was really look at how do we use data to improve our products. And when we do that, right, one of the things that we did was to actually go and ask our business analysts to ask us what question. What do we do with the data we have? What can we do to improve the quality of their products? So we, as a business analyst, we start this process and then we start with that what. Right? And then our team went, we talked to them, we tried to understand what comes from the data. And then we said, one of the best things that we can do, this is a very high-end product, customers expect superior reliability from this product. So the real thing that we should do with the data is to see how we can improve the reliability of this product. From 5 nines to probably 6 nines, right? Now the question is, how do we do that, right? Or rather, maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves. So maybe the question is that what do we do to make sure that happens? And then we said if we can predict parts of this product or the product itself is going to fail at some point of time, then we can actually make this fixes ahead of time, replace some components, and make sure that it never fails. Now is a how question, and this is where our data scientist team comes in. Mm-hmm. So the data scientist team comes in now. They build prediction models. Actually, they build some amazing predictive models using machine learning and data science. We got about 16 patents in just that one alone. And they actually build a highly precise predictive model which is going to say when a particular component of a machine is going to fail. Then we go back to the data business analyst again and say, what do we do with this data? The most obvious one, of course, is that we replace the component, right? We replace the component so that there is no downtime at all. But we also found another use case when business analysts looked at it. They again asked this question. Right now we are going from how to the what again, where we ask this question, what do we do with this predictive information? And then our analysts, because they're so close to business, they understand the business flows, they realize that one of the best ways that we can use this information, apart from the replacement, which is obvious, is that when a failure happens, a customer engineer goes to the product site. Mm-hmm. He does the replacement, takes the components with him, does the replacement, and comes back. The biggest cost that's involved in all of this is the travel time as well as the hourly rates for the engineer. So then we theorized that if we could cut down this travel time, right, we could save a lot of money for the company. And that's exactly what they did. They said, if a failure is going to happen, what we're going to do first is to do a scan across the entire product line at the customer's place and see what has to be replaced or what will fail in the next 6 months. And knowing this information, we actually proactively replace them ahead of time. The customer's happy, the product reliability hits the roof, right? We reach our 6 nines, but also we save significant amount of money. Actually, it's pretty close to about $23 million a year that we're spending on this travel cost and other stuff that we save year over year. So why I'm saying this, it's a continuum. We keep having this business analyst, data scientist, business analyst again, and it comes back to the data scientist. That's the coin that we're talking about. That's a connection between them. And that's the interaction between these two groups.
Great. So if I have to summarize it, the business analysis looks at more in terms of the why and the what part of it, and then you would have the data science or the analytics part comes into like how do we solve particular problem?
Exactly. The business analyst looks at what can I do to improve the impact of the business using the data, and the analytical people, the data scientists look at how can I do that, how can I implement that, and make that a production.
Great. Varghese, I'll just come back to you on that particular point. So I had a question for Amar. If you take a typical business process company, where many a time the client has done this, like say the initial analysis, and they come back to you and saying that, hey, this is what my problems are. Now solve this particular problem. So where do you see a company like you, of course you are having a huge analytics practice, fit into where the client has already done the analysis, and where do you see a role for a business analyst in your organization?
Right, Mohan. So I'll take an example for this was when we were working for, or I was part of a financial services company, US-based institutional side. And before we came in, there was some kind of analysis which was happening on acquisition strategy. How do we acquire more customers? Some degree of analysis was already done, more using heuristics and rule of thumbs. Not really robust, not really working well. And that is when our team got established, and we had to really pick it up from that point. This is again an example where me and my team, we sort of had to play the business, some different people. Some we had to play the business analyst role as well as the analytics role. So we had a seat at the table. So it was a discussion we started at the beginning of the year. Last year, the analytics things had not worked out. And so this is the business analysis part. It did not really follow the Babcock methodology, but it was the right questions were being asked. That what do we want to do for the whole year? Fine, this thing has not worked out. What do we want to do for this year? Which areas do we want to focus on? So there was the business head, we had a product head, the relationship manager, operation technology. So the business priorities for the whole year were laid down. And then we decided that, okay, this has been on the analytics side, this has been our experience last year. It has not worked out very well. Like you mentioned, some work has been done and something has been picked up. Now, how do we look at it? So till that time, the analytics which was done in the previous year, it was done by fairly, I'll say, junior folks, so it was all over the place. So based on the business priorities, we decided that for this whole year, I am not going to do MIS reporting. I'm only going to focus on one thing and one thing only, which is acquiring customers. And that too from this particular way. Then there was discussion about, is that the right solution? Should we look at some kind of a cross-sell? Should we look at something else? No. So in that discussion, the decision was taken on what to do, the business analysis part. Though it was not fully a Babcock methodology, but yeah, that question was answered that this is what we want to do this year. And then we went back to execution. So it was again me and my team. We developed a set of, it was a combination of simple business rules, some models which we developed. We actually outsourced the model. The modeling was the easy part. We wanted to focus on the strategy and the business. And we developed a solution. We identified whom to target, how to targeted them, got the business in, checked what is the impact we are getting, checked it against what we were expecting. Phase 2, we modified it. So this is an example where something has been done, we had to pick it up, and where sort of the business analysis part and the analytics part came together. It does not always happen that way. Sometimes something has been done and I'm simply asked to say, I'm simply given a task that these models are not working, can you pick it up, refresh it, figure it out. But this was an example where it went in a very fairly robust manner.
Interesting. Varghese, I see that machine learning is one of your favorite subjects. Now, even when it comes to, say, the analytics field, you find a lot of machine learning being applied. And even analytics is becoming more and more in terms of exploratory to begin with. You're essentially trying to figure out as to what the problem itself is, even before trying to solve the problem. When the machines are kind of replacing some of the traditional work which has been done by the human beings, where, let's say, the domain expertise was playing such a huge role, where do you see that kind of a handshake happening between the machines and the human beings?
Good question, Mohan. I think I'll take a step back, and a lot of the time before we can actually apply machine learning, you need to know what you're trying to solve, right? So it goes back again to the whole point that Robin said, is framing the question is typically the most important challenge. Once you frame the question and you can figure out the how of doing it, and if you can find a repetitive pattern to it, that's where you can start applying automation, machine learning, AI, and other elements of the solution, right? But I think it was Accenture that said yesterday that it is a connected, it's a people-centric focus yet, right? We can't avoid people in the process yet. It might happen, but today it is all about understanding the question, understanding the what, figuring out the how, and then using the techniques to essentially come forward. But just to add to what Robin said, the continuum is important, right? It is not just about that you solve the question once. It's about how you can keep optimizing, and that is where you can start applying models. Again, machine learning becomes a very important aspect. How can you train your system based on the insights that you already got, retrain it as you get more insights so that your models become much more tighter, their integrity is much more finer, and that is when you really start getting the value for what you've done, right? Meaning he made it sound as if it all happened in a short period of time, but I'm sure it probably took a lot of iterations before it reached that stage. So I still see human beings playing a very important part there. I think things are evolving, but human beings are at the core.
Great. I think it's a pleasure to know that. We are still not going to be overthrown by the machines. Sudhir, coming to you, a good amount of the work, what you do is trying to solve the customer's problems, and good amount of work involves your consulting. So how do you see the business analyst playing a key role in that entire engagement?
So just again, taking up from where Varghese left, I think the important problem we're solving, especially in the IT industry, is at the end of the day, there is a client who has a problem. And the problem just changes, depending on what context it is. Sometimes it's a modernization project. Sometimes it is an operational issue. Sometimes it could be just, they're looking at digital experience for the future. So at the end of the day, the common denominator is that we have a client, and our job is to figure out what that client wants at that point in time, and what are the best solutions to offer to them. Okay, and at CGI, so we kind of have a simple way of looking at calling that as just if you give a solution, that's hygiene factor, but you have to deliver value to your clients, and I think that's where the business analysts come into play. If you just see a problem, fix it, that anybody can do. But if you do it faster, cheaper, better than somebody else, you created value for your client. So solving something by putting a problem or a solution there, anybody can do. But I think the beauty of the business analysis is looking beyond that specific problem to an answer and saying, now can I take it 5 more steps ahead of it so it never repeats again, or I've looked at it 15 years into the future and future-proofed it. So sort of breaking it down. I know it sounds very poetry, sounds very hypothetical. Value can be broken down, and it's actually can be measured. And I think the BA or the analytics have a very, very crucial role to play in all segments of it. It just depends on where we are in the evolution of it. So the first part, the industry that has been in the last 15 years has been, there was a mainframe technology, we modernized it, right? So it was very expensive machines. It took a lot of time computing, and we now have faster machines. So all of the business analysis around, let's convert the mainframe requirements into Java requirements, or sort of web requirements and so on. So the analysis was about converting technology requirements and porting that into that. So our value at the time as business analyst committee was around converting functional requirements. But now, in this day and age, then as we're doing that, it's not enough. We need to do something faster, cheaper. So we're looking at digital. So we're applying mobile, we're applying cloud services on top of that. But is that enough? So if you look at our traditional banks today, the competition for banks is not coming from banks. It's actually coming from Starbucks. It's coming from Amazon. It's coming from non-traditional customers. So there's a third component of value, which is business risk. And that's where analytics and business analysts have to come together to figure out what is around the corner that the bank or a given client is not able to see, and how can we leverage business analysis and analytics combined to solve those problems, which many of the fintechs, many of the startups are beginning to disrupt the current generation of clients. So it's always an evolution, but I think what's consistently stayed always is there's always a problem to solve. Business analysis has a huge role to play, which is you don't take a solution, but you look at it and future-proof it. But I think in this day and age, what's really important for this group to take away is there are a lot of business risks that you have to be really cognizant about. And as business analysis, recognize it, and with the power of analytics, be able to come out with solutions.
Great insights. Anmol, a question to you. You've been in the industry for the last, say, 2 decades. How have you seen the entire role progress for the last, say, 2 decades? Or do you see that it's kind of been constant, or?
Sure. So first of all, I want to congratulate everybody in the audience. The kind of energy which I see in conference is very rare, and this is my second year, and the passion and energy which everybody brings here is excellent. So thanks a lot for bringing a passion and spirit of sharing here. Coming back to the question which Mohan you asked, and my friends very, very beautifully described where the business analyst piece is going in. And me being a guy who sits in the laboratory and build products, we really look at the past. We most of the time look at the future. So I'll just briefly give you a perspective in terms of how I see this profession, this place is getting evolved, and where it is coming from. So today we are living in this unprecedented times where businesses are changing, the way we operate, things are changing, and a lot of it is because of the data which is being built, the technology like cloud which is becoming accessible, engagement which is becoming very critical from mobile and ability of devices, opportunity to create new value for clients, for citizens, for governments. It's unprecedented. And now in this space, what is it which is needed to create value, to develop economy, to drive pieces? And when we look at business analysis, business analyst, and really looking at the analytics, business analytics piece, and as you heard before, it is all the difference is who can ask the right question, and what is the right question to be asked, and the quest for the right answer is lying in this analytics and the data and the information which is all around us. And as we have seen in past, a lot of this information was structured, a lot of this information was limited but structured in a form that there were algorithms, ways to mine this information and build it. And as we are living in the world of today, the information which is available all around us is so much unstructured. So the insight, how to bring out the unstructured insight and bring it to humans so that the right answer can be built for the right question which is being asked. And as businesses struggle every day to really find where the value is, who can ask the right question, and that right question opportunity, the skill to ask the right question lies with the community of business analysts, business analysis process, the method, the way by which the right question needs to be arrived. And as we look at the methods of doing it earlier, the traditional methods of doing it, but today, right from the process of how to get to the right question is changing in terms of how the design thinking, how the ability to co-create along with various business stakeholders and build it, and how to really work not in silos, not in cubicles sitting in isolation, but working along with the community of the analytics people or the product people or the services development people, but this whole chain of coming together and building the piece. So really this ability, the skill to ask the right question is becoming very critical, because every business starts from there. Every opportunity which businesses are chasing every day starts from there. So more and more, this business analysis and business analysts, they're really coming in the front of what business needs, what is the requirement which needs to be addressed. And as we look at the other side, which is the quest of getting to the answer, and where is this quest of getting to the answer coming from? And as we have seen, humongous technology has been built in last many years to really find how to mine data, how to build information, how to slice structured information. But as we look at the unstructured information, as we look at the data all around us, the computing today is not capable to really give us the answering capability, because 80% of the data which we see all around us is dark. Neither computers can make any sense out of it, nor humans can really have ability to assess it. So what is to be done in today is really the computing needs to change, the era needs to change by which this whole new level of information which is being built, answers can be mined, answers can be built, and beyond human capability. And at IBM, we have been spending a lot of time building that, and we call it cognitive era, the era where machines will really partner with humans in far more human manner and help us get to the answers far better. So the cognitive computing, where computers will be able to scale their learning, they will not be programmed, but you will be able to feed data, and really they will be able to learn from interactions. But at the same time, computers will be able to interact with humans in natural language, so natural language processing ability to work around it. So that cognitive piece will help us get to this unstructured information and bring insights out of it, which will make it, the whole analytics process will become better, will become easier. So the quest of answers is through what we are seeing is far more around this man-machine partnership to get to where the insights needs to come in. But this partnership of, Mohan, your previous thing is also how this machine partnership with humans is going to really get to what business wants. So asking this skill of asking the right question from the business analysis, a quest to get to the right answer from the new form by which we are seeing from analytics capability to mine data, to build cognitive, build predictive, those kind of capabilities on it, that partnership is going to build what businesses are looking for. And business analysts, as we have seen in past, continue to be the prime piece of it, but their role is continuing to evolve and becoming more front end. So I see a huge bright future going forward for this whole community here.
Great. And then Anmol, I see that you stress on the aspect of asking the right questions, because I think humans invariably has got the capability to know all the answers, but they don't know to ask the right questions. Varghese, from your perspective, how does one, or what are the kind of the basic skill sets which is required to be a good business analyst, and how does one equip himself or herself to be one?
I think I'm preaching to the choir here. I think most of the people in this audience and probably listening are actual hands-on BAs that have good skills. But I think something that we've heard over the last 2 days is that the role of the BA is changing, and the role of the BA is changing quite dramatically and quite rapidly. A couple of things, based on what we want to do and where we want to go, will determine the skill sets that we need to build. When in the opening panel discussion, we were talking about the domain skills, right? To ask the right questions, to frame the right questions. A lot of the times, you do need the domain expertise that you need to really understand the domain before you can even ask the right question. And if you look at design thinking for that matter, and if you look at the earlier question that came in, the client already has a question. Sometimes, and most of the times, what is true is that the clients do not actually know the questions. So it's the role of the BA to essentially elicit the kind of problems that there is, and using design thinking, you can certainly do that, right? So in this new world of BAs, design thinking is a very important element that you can probably add to your repertoire to essentially use as a skill, right? But it builds on what you have. Being able to ask the right questions, to have the right processes in place, and design thinking again has multiple processes, so multiple ways of attacking the problem. So you need to kind of get those and have those in your skill set that you can start applying. Obviously, like I said, domain skills. And then based on where you want to go, you will probably add other skills. For example, if you want to become an architect or a business architect or solution architect, then you'll probably need to look at those kind of skill sets. If you want to really go the analytics way, then you need to start understanding the deeper insights. You probably might need to understand visualizing tools, because a lot of the time you'll probably be given the data, you might need to figure out the insights, and then you need to apply those as well. So you might need to know the skills around visualization, the skills around using the tools that provide you with the visualization, so on and so forth. So it's all based on the skills that you have and how you want to build on it. But like I think Anmol said, this is a very interesting space. It's a point of inflection. There's a lot of opportunity out there. It's for us to grab it based on where we see our career move. And there are so much of opportunities out there, because this field is throwing up so much of new questions, which needs new skills, new solutions which need new skills. I am probably one generation old. So, for you guys, this is probably the best time to be in this industry.
Great. So this question is not meant for the people who are there in the audience. This is more meant for a young graduate or a young professional who's looking to join this industry. How does one start, and where do you see the kind of progression over the person's career?
So I think what Varghese talked about in terms of the foundational skills are very essential. So for a business analyst, whether in the traditional IT or in the analytics space, domain or a passion for a domain is a must. The right communication skills, being able to articulate, whether it's in writing or speaking, I think it's pretty essential. I think where one would have to start getting more, whether for folks in this room or outside this room, is what Varghese was talking about, is a sense of curiosity. So I would, if folks have not seen this video, I would definitely recommend by a very famous psychologist called Simon Sinek. And what he talks about is called the golden circle. So normally our human brain is used to seeing and asking questions around the why and the how part. The how and the what part. But we sort of forget, why are we doing this to begin with? And that's the curiosity part. And I think if you, sort of simplify everything what we've talked about today is, in this day and age, the key thing is curiosity. And how do you build this curiosity? You ask a lot of questions. Doesn't matter how stupid they are, you just ask a lot of questions. And the more you do, the better you get at what is called business analysis, right? So the analysis comes from the fact of asking a lot of questions, not just following some old documentation and converting that into the new age documentation. So how do you do that? I would definitely ask you to take a look at that video where he talks about some of the principles of why our human brain stops at the first two components, which is the how and the what part, but we don't go into the deeper question of why. In addition to that, I think we talked a little bit about design thinking. And again, the design thinking is founded on the fact that it takes our ability to get one step closer to the client's issues. We don't stop at knowing all the answers ourselves. We have that stubbornness, I think that we know all the answers and the clients don't. So you always want to take one more step closer to the client's issues and problems. Design thinking is a great tool to help you get there. The other thing that I would definitely ask a lot of you in this room and outside is if you have any opportunity to study any of the design courses, whether it's usability or UI, I would highly, highly recommend all of you taking that. Not because you should have the usability skills of how to design a screen and stuff, but I think the principles of usability comes from the fact that you ask a lot of questions. You sort of go into the mind frame of the user, not what they're doing today, but what they want to do tomorrow, and then the windows and the screens and the form factors come in later. So to recap, Simon Sinek Golden Circle, design thinking, and highly recommend a lot of you taking design courses. I think it's going to be an interesting area. I think it's going to be part and parcel of your competency moving forward. It won't be a specialized field just for the design engineers. It'll be an important competency of business analysts, and it all comes down to curiosity.
Great. Sure.
I'll add one more C, which very beautifully described as curiosity, is the creativity, which is a lot of times when we see our education system, we are built as deterministic outcome, just like computers of the old era. But this curiosity combining with creativity and believing that there are many answers. There are many ways a question can be answered. There are many ways things can be solved. But being creative and being open and co-creating with the community of various experts around you. So this curiosity combining with creativity with openness in mind will really open very new doors as a skill, which will just open up many new doors for youngsters. Those are coming into the industry now.
Robin, this question is to you, given that you look younger than Varghese. So I'm going to ask you this question. I just want to do some crystal grazing, where you're talking about, there's a lot of this talk about automation and things around that. How much of it do you think is going to replace some of the things which you just spoke about, the creativity and the curiosity part of it getting automated? Do you see that to be a huge threat, or is it a way where the young professionals will automatically leverage those to their own capabilities? What's your take?
Sure, great question, and again, there's a lot of debate on this particular one, right? The way that I look at it, it's again going back to what we said. We started by saying that we have to have the curiosity, and we have to ask questions. And there's an old saying is that the right way to get great answers is to ask great questions, right? But that being said, once you ask those great questions, right, what then? And a big part of that, going from that question, that great question, to that great answer is that intuition and that understanding of the domain. And we call it in many ways. I mean, we call it as gut feeling. We call it 100 different names for it, right? But the fact of the matter is that you have to have some understanding of the domain, what works there, what is the problem that you're trying to solve, and how that impacts all the people, all the actors in that particular domain. And I would also say another important part, which is very, very, very important in terms of a business analyst, and I consider a lot of business analysts to be, in many ways, entrepreneurs, because they're asking these questions. They're asking the what questions. Is also to have an understanding of related domains as well. Now, I'll explain why. There's this brilliant book written by Amy Wilkinson. It's called Creator's Code. And they look at many entrepreneurs, right? And they see how they come up with these ideas. And one of this, and they categorize them into many buckets, right? One of those big buckets is what they call a sunbird. A sunbird goes from flower to flower and transfers one idea from the next one, right? So this is the concept. And they give many examples. For example, one of the things that they said is Craigslist, right? How did Craig Newmark come up with Craigslist? He just looked at classified ads and said, how can I recreate this in the internet? And Craigslist was born. Same for Starbucks, right? He didn't invent the concept. He just took that idea and built somewhere else. And any new business, that is started in the digital age, you will see that that's happening. What's Airbnb? They're just reinventing the hotels. What's Uber? They're inventing the taxi service. So a lot of this comes from taking ideas from a different domain and applying to a new domain. So the reason why I said intuition and all these things is some of these things cannot be immediately replaced, because this is the gut feel, or whatever you want to call it, is what gives you the pathway to sometimes the great answers. And when that intuition meets the data, that's a real power. So that's a long-winded answer, but the answer to your question is that it's both. I don't think we'll ever replace that human intuition, but we are going there. We are going a long way to say that how can, as Anmol rightly said, to that cognitive layer.
Great.
The future, from my perspective, is bright.
Correct. I'll just add very briefly. So when we were building cognitive computing for us, and we have a computer called Watson, and when at IBM researchers started building Watson, that time, 4 or 5 years back, that time the artificial intelligence era is really winters in like many years, and nothing much has happened. But the whole attempt of mimic human brain has been a difficult challenge. So when we are saying intelligent machines, somewhere the mind comes with, okay, start becoming like a human brain. But when at IBM, when researchers started looking at how to solve, what is the problem to be solved, which is if you look at unstructured information all around us, and if we can train the machine to give insights from this unstructured data to humans, to take humans to take the decisions, but the ability to ask the questions remain with humans. So we have taken the computer in many places. So prime example comes in oncology. Doctors, those are looking at cancer patients. Call center agents, those need to instantly answer the data or the question which is coming from the client on the piece. There, computer can immediately relate with so much of information. In the example of cancer and oncology, can go to all the research journals, get all the patient data in an instant and answer the question which the oncologist is asking with a high degree of confidence or low degree of confidence. So the ability to get to the answer is still could be the computation, mathematical precision, correlation of data, but ability to take a decision, ask the right question still remains with humans. So unless this machine and man partnership comes together, only then something gets solved. Machine in itself yet is not there that it will be able to ask the question and get the answer.
Amar, your thoughts? I wanted to say something very controversial.
Okay, so yeah, it's difficult to imagine today that computation will replace human brain, but since you asked for controversy and not a different point of view, yeah, I think there could be a point, or I don't think, I mean, I would like to think there will be a point where a machine will may replace the human brain, including all the creativity. I find it difficult today, but that is like saying 30 years back that you can't land on moon. It was a dream, it was impossible. So at one point of time, it was difficult to think that, I mean, that time of Yahoo and all that, information will be so easily available. So yeah, I'll say that, I mean, Watson and all the things, we are probably going towards it. It might take many lifetimes, but might happen.
Sure. Thank you so much, Amar. Yeah.
So I won't say it controversial, but I think we have to recognize what's coming for us as a threat. I think it's important to understand that. I think if we go back to the human species, over animals or dinosaurs, what we have done over a period of time, and we've done very, very well, is evolution, right? And I think we've done that very well in the context of what was then to where we are today, and we continue to evolve. And that's an important element to really, really focus on for this community, whether it's in this room or outside, is if we go with our traditional way of business analysis, which is, I know this domain well because I've ratified whatever the requirements of this industry is, that a Watson can replace very easily because it's a database of information. It's an information. It can recap and spit out information in nanoseconds that we would be hard to do. But I think what we as human beings are really good at is being able to apply that at the right place, at the right time, at the right things, and being able to evolve that information into something more practical, right? So the key takeaway is, yes, it's a threat, it's a possibility, but I think what we as humans have and done over generations and generations is the ability to evolve and use it at the right place at the right time. I think that's the edge and that's the competency I think you all should walk away with is, it's not about how much depth of information or how much can I ratify the domain knowledge out here is matters. It's how do I use it at the right place at the right time, and the curiosity part.
I think Anmol had a very good point. A lot of the computing, and I talked about repetitive tasks, right? A lot of the computing, a lot of the repetitive tasks, a lot of tasks that need a lot of information, structured, unstructured, that needs to be brought together to kind of create an answer could potentially be done by machine. In fact, I'm sure most of you are in the service field, would have heard of robotic process automation that is taking out jobs in primarily the L1 side of things. Companies are talking about 30% manpower reduction and so on. So you're going to see that happen, and to Sudhir's point, which is very true, is that today it's already happening. So if you're going to be traditional and if you're not going to evolve, there will come a point where our jobs are probably going to be at stake. Right? In fact, one of the things, if you look at the BA Bock talks about the BI space. Now, if you look at BI and traditional BI, they will continue to exist, but a lot of the BI today is about analytics. Right? Companies are moving away from traditional reporting, traditional intelligence, to actually analytics or insights-based, intelligence that actually provides the people making the decision the right insights, to make the decision. We talked about even Watson helping that to a certain extent. So the computing part of it, you will see a lot of automation, a lot of computing, because today computing power is not a premium like it was earlier, right? Today we talk about horizontal scaling rather than vertical scaling. You can just, the Googles of the world, the Facebooks of the world have taught us that you can just take commercial off the shelf, products and then put them together and really get massive amount of computing power. So the computing power is there, right? Which is why that risk will exist. But Sudhir brought up a great point, right? It's an evolution. So as business analysts, we need to evolve. As computer science, professionals, we need to evolve. And that evolution is a great journey to be in. It's going to be painful, but it's also fun.
Thank you, Varghese, for your final comments. We have exactly 5 minutes. Anyone from the audience would ask any questions?
Hi, thank you panel for the insightful discussion. Anmol, this question is for you. I have been using IBM Watson. Thank you for making that open for all of us. I've attended a couple of webinars for Watson as well. What I really want to understand is when you are designing these kind of products, or when you're looking at the features, do you also consider the moral and ethical implications, or going forward when these decisions becomes a little more complex, how do you factor that in while thinking about the features of the product?
Sure. So the way when we were building this capability for Watson, and then there was a time when it came that it's really powerful, and some of you will remember there was a game of Jeopardy which it defeated the champions, those who were winning this Jeopardy game on television in US. And then the thought started happening is how do you bring this powerful set of capability to as many enterprises, as many as individuals, as many places. And at that time, the initial idea was, do we need to, the way we were looking at technology being built in the older era, or it is the new form of technology, the way we are delivering it in the coming years, coming time. And at that time, the cloud was becoming more compelling, which is we wanted that with the help of cloud, the ability for this capability to reach wherever is becoming very, very significant. So what then IBM started doing is it took various capability which requires cognitive thinking, which requires cognitive computing solution capability, and started developing them in the form of APIs. Those are available on our cloud. So these could be retrieval and rank. This could be the services which are required where you will be needing to build cognitive solutions where you want your application to really do thinking about it. So that's what team has been at this moment of time. There are more than 50 APIs at this moment. Those are available for anybody to build their applications. Those required cognitive solutions. Those require to have some of this capability. It doesn't need to be that you need fully cognitive piece, but it could be a function. It could be a capability where you want to pull in, which will give you a very different thing. So when initially Watson was built, it only could look at data, but now it can see, it can look at medical images, it can hear, it can understand the emotions which it is being talked to. So the responses about the APIs, those will be able to give you emotive tones. APIs, those will be give you vision capability of what is being there. So that's the path which a team has taken, and that's how these capabilities are available as APIs. So it becomes easier for anybody to really bring API by API into your applications and into the solutions which are being built.
Yeah, hi, my name is Abhishek, and I have an open question to all. So my question more is around someone who is coming new to this field, transitioning from a core technical to a business analysis kind of space. So what do you think is a good entry point? Should he be coming in from the technical aspect, hone his analytic skills, and then get into the domain expertise piece, or is it always about balancing it 50-50? What do you think is the best way in?
Well, my take on it is it depends on what you want to do. If it's business analysis, it's a slightly different set of skills. If it's analytics, it's hardcore math, statistics, being able to understand algorithms. So it actually depends on the passion at the end of the day. If you have the capability to do both, it's fantastic. You will become the next king. Don't worry about it. But if you don't have it, then you have to figure out, am I a better questioning guy? Can I ask the right questions? Is that where I want to come from? And build the skills from the analysis part, right? That's asking the right question, framing the problem. And over a period of time, you can build your domain expertise as well, because that also takes time. But like I said, if you want to start on the other end, it's a lot of math capability, a lot of algorithms, a lot of statistics that you really need to know inside out. And if you know programming in that space, it'll help, because a lot of the answers are the models are created in the math world, encoded in a language, typically, right? So that's that part of it. But at the end of the day, it's your passion, meaning whatever makes you really happy, that's what you should probably follow.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing. Right, there's a lot of learning. It's going to be a continuous learning place where you'll be, because it's an evolving field and new things keep coming every day, right? So the good thing is that since you're coming from a technical background, you already tried a little bit of analytics, you tried a little bit of technology. I would go with what Varghese said. You need to go back and think in the projects that you did, which parts really excited you? Which parts made you feel like, wow, I'm really happy doing this, right? Start there. That's when you'll be most successful, because like I said, there's a lot of learning, and sometimes that can feel like a little bit overwhelming, right? But if you're working on the side of your passion, you will not feel it. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi. So since last 2 days, we were talking about empathy and design thinking. Right now, what we're hearing is competing with robots with the help of structure and structured data. So how do you marry these two? Completely different. After listening to your session, it looks like, okay, design thinking is past. We should talk about the structure and structured data and how to beat robotics as a BA.
Yeah, so structured and structured data, all the conversation which we had was not to drive you away, but to tell you how answer is becoming easy. And answer will become commodity, because you can get data anywhere. Answer will become easy because technology will be able to provide. But the question, the skill of asking question will continue to be task, continue to be premium. And that's where this community is, right? Which is asking the right question. Now, saying that asking the right question sounds very easy, but it is not. It requires skill, it requires domain expertise, it requires new methods and processes by which the thinking to get to the right question is. And design thinking is a method to get to the co-creation of what you want to do in the business. So in the simplistic form, getting answer is becoming very, very easy in terms of technologies being developed. But this piece of asking the right question is not becoming easy. It's still very, very involved exercise. And that involved exercise really requires deep expertise in the domains where the question needs to be asked. The ability to get to the right method, the process by which that question will be get to. And that's where business analysis is. That's why it is becoming more critical. Design thinking is a tool, is a method, the enhanced process by which you will be able to get to the right question. But these answer and question are two different domains. Getting answer is becoming easy, but finding the right question is becoming difficult.
So I'll try to answer it slightly differently, but I think the same point. So there were days, I'm pretty sure in your learning days, you sort of memorized all the multiplication tables. Today you're using calculator, right? So how often do you use your mind to do computations? Use Google Maps? Do you still remember the roads like you used to, where you didn't have Google Maps, but then at the time when you're driving, you were far more concentrated on your brain remembering what you had to remember. So the world is moving to a point where what we are talking today is, in your role as a business analyst, a lot of what you're doing will be automated, will be commoditized, right? Just like you don't use calculator, or you don't use your mind to do computations, you use calculator or Excel or so on. And you don't use your mind to figure out the navigation, you use Google Maps. The key is, in your business analysis or analytics roles, a lot of what you do will become automated. That's what we're talking about from a data point of view. Which means that for you to continue to do better, you got to do something that cannot be automated. And that's where the curiosity comes. And that's where the edge comes. And as long as you continue to evolve and continue to, the running race will always be there, where the machines will try to catch up to human beings. But the point is not about one taking over the other. The point is, can our lives be better tomorrow? Because we have automated 99% of non-value add tasks, and our brain is only involved in doing things that makes sense. It makes value, right? Just take the example of car, right? If I was thinking about all the roads, the directions, and the traffic and everything else, and didn't have Google Maps, I wouldn't have a quality discussion with my family in the car, right? Now Google Maps is there. At least I don't have to worry about which road to take, right? At least I'll have a decent conversation. What tomorrow? I don't even have to drive, right? That's where the direction of the cars is going, which means I'm one more step closer to having a better conversation with my family in the car and experience that. Driving still doesn't go away. It's always there, right? So the key point is that we are trying to make today is that there will be, and you have to take a hard look at your roles and responsibilities, because there will be a lot of automation, there will be a lot of commoditization of what you do. But the key is keep moving forward with things that cannot be commoditized, and you have to grow, learn those competencies. Design thinking is one step closer to asking those curious questions. It's not the only answer. I talked about design, learning designs as part of competency. Anything that gets you closer to the client problems and makes you good at it cannot be commoditized. Does that make sense?
Hi, hello, I'm Bala. Yesterday that we were discussing that it's not only the L1 jobs, that there is a company who has got an AI board member as well. And we are the most evolved species on this planet, that we are the only species who is paying to live on this planet. So I'm again trying to ask the why question. Like, what is going to be the consumption pattern, or the future of the consumption? Who is going to consume whatever we create, whatever we automate? For example, the cryptography and all those digital currencies is going to make your payments in a digital form, and people are going to lose jobs because of RPA, so the number of banking transactions is going to come down. So we are solving problems in banking to make payments, and tomorrow that's not going to be there. So what is that I'm going to solve? So who is going to consume? What is the roadmap for the consumption stakeholders?
I'll take a shot at it. Definitely, I'm not sure if I'm fully the authority on it. But let's go back to industrial era, right? We had machines, And there were machines that came, and I'm very sure that at the time, the question was, if all these machines come, what will all the human beings do? We all have jobs today, still, right? Except the nature and the type of the work that we do has evolved. And I think the future economy or future of what we're talking about tomorrow is that a lot of things, at least the first level of automation or the first level of what we're talking about is anything that's repetitive, anything that can be patternized, anything that can be commoditized will be automated, right? So whether it's in your roles, whether it's outside, whether it's driving, whether it's industrial economy, whatever those are. I think in the context of Bitcoins and in the specific example you're talking about, it's going to make the economical aspects far more faster, far more cheaper, so that we're not relying on monolithic systems to drive financial processing. But still, at the end of the day, there are people who have to do reconciliations, right? I mean, payments, just because you solved how payments get processed doesn't mean reconciliations go away, because there's things coming in. So it might be a different version of reconciliation, it might be a different version of audits, it might be a different version of payment backends and front ends. But we evolve from there to say, what skills do I have to be able to deliver the right skills for that sort of work? And that's how we do it. Just because machines were there in the industrial era doesn't mean that humans stopped working, right? We had services economy coming in. And in this case, if automation AI comes in, I'm very sure, which is why we're emphasizing so much on your ability or intellect on curiosity part, is to how to evolve that. You have to be a super specialist. You have to be a niche person playing a very different role which cannot be commoditized. So that's the future direction. Now, do I know all the answers? No, not at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, thinking that we are in a place where no problem is solved, it's too optimistic. World is very inefficient at this moment of time. There are many, many problems in the society which needs to be solved. Now, if you look 10 years back, the computing technology which we had has, how much it has really helped us, whether it has created social networking and things like that, which how much it has helped us to solve some of the real problems which we are facing today. You don't have to go too far. Just go out of the gate and traffic. You look at the kind of cure which is needed for how many people die in terms of absence of health care. How many places do we have the solutions? Even if you look at normal businesses, oil rigs, how many times we dig into the right place where oil is? How many times the waste is happening in various areas in industry? So the world is full of problems. If you're thinking that we, just because we have technological computing plays in place, things are solved, it's no more. So consumption will continue to get driven by how to make things efficient. Consumption will come from the generation still will require places to live, to eat, to really build infrastructure on this. So consumption will get driven by the population where the young generation will come through. There are areas in the world which will face some challenge on consumption, please. But still there is huge number of problems to be solved. World needs to become far better, and there is no doubt that a lot of computing advantage is what we are seeing from technology advancements. That is going to help and drive a different level of setting the consumption which you are questioning in your mind, and it's a long way to go in terms of what all possibilities need to be bring, and there are so many all around us. Those need to be addressed.
Thank you.
And one final thought: you don't create solutions for what doesn't get consumed. Other people don't consume what you create. You create solutions for what people want. Right? And I think we kind of run short of time. Any further questions? Some of us would be around. Feel free to shoot it out to us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Any other questions, you can always connect with them offline and also put that up on Geek.